Hello and welcome back to another episode with Panda Raph and Mr. Tango here. Yeah, today, I know I said we were going to go over the posterior leg, and that actually makes a lot of sense, but I felt like going over the neck today, and it was kind of what happened in the footage anyways, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over some neck work today, some really basic stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we're starting off here, and I've got a towel that I'm setting up because I'm gonna take a knee. Now, sometimes that's kind of a like a debatable subject in a way. Like, there's a lot of massage therapists who say you shouldn't ever take a knee. Like, there's clearly a chair on the other side of the room. I should grab that and sit on that instead. And I think that's a very valid point. Like, you should definitely take the extra steps to make sure your body is safe, make sure you're safe. I guess that's why I'm grabbing the towel. I could have grabbed the chair. The truth is, I really don't like to grab things when I have lotion on my hands, right? Like, I don't want to, I don't know. It's a weird germ thing that I have. So I think I'm more comfortable with the towel, but let's see if I'm still saying that in a few years when my knees are like shouting at me every time I go to take a knee or something like that. I think most people will agree that the knee, although a weight-bearing joint, and it's fantastic when used properly, when you bend it and then put weight on it, it's not exactly the same thing. You're not using it the same way. So that's just my 2 cents on that. Let's go ahead and keep moving forward here. Yep, getting my towel down. See, that's just not enough padding. There should be like a little bit more padding there, I think. But, I mean, for now, I'm doing okay, I suppose. Alright, let's skip to some action. Come on. Come on. Got some more CBD cream here. Now you'll notice I'm getting the front of the neck and the top of the pecs. Getting some product on there because I'm expecting to work there. And I point that out because there are so many people that I work on that when I work the SEM or the anterior scalene, just anywhere in the front of the neck here, they say how nobody's worked there before, and they've been getting massaged for like years and years and years. And it's always such a disappointing statement to hear. Like, you'd think I would be like, yeah, like, I'm the first, I'm awesome. But no, that's a lot of money they invested into massage therapy and weren't getting thorough treatments. So I know it looks a little awkward bodywork wise. Like, I should probably stand up to do this stroke here because there is that strange angle going on with my shoulder, right? But in a way, I'm still keeping everything somewhat stacked, right? Like, the wrist is straight, the elbow is bent at that 90 degrees right there. I should really be dropping down with my body instead of using my shoulder to crank down. But then I would have to stand all the way up. I mean, that's just absurd, right? It's not absurd. You should stand up. This is an example here of, okay, that wrist is not straight. If you look at that, at least on the other side, it was doing okay. Okay, that's somewhat better. So no, your joints aren't always going to be perfect in body work. You should try to make them as perfect as possible. But and by doing that, you should stand. Now, I will say, from this crouched position here, from this kneeling position, I should say, I like the angle. I like working from that angle. And sometimes when you're at a standing position and have to work down, it can be kind of steep sometimes. Really what I should do is I should stand and then like heavily bend my knees into it and still be able to drop my weight. That'd be the optimal thing. This is kind of like lazy man's work here. And I mean, look at those shoulders, right? Look at my shoulders right now. It is... That's not good. That's really not good. It's hard to look at. I have to post this. Why am I posting? I'm posting this for you, is what I'm doing. For the new massage therapist out there. Okay, so I'm still incorporating some movement into what I'm doing from my hips as best as possible. It's so easy to take a knee and everything comes from the shoulders like you were just seeing. So you should still kind of get that dance in the mix there. You should still try to get your body in the mix as best as possible. Getting some knuckles here. Very basic technique. Do you have to lay back there, Tango? Come on, man. He is the worst co-host sometimes, I tell you. Buddy. Okay, so we're taking some knuckles from from the top of the neck down to the bottom, and I think this is a very effective technique. Like for me, this is it's almost like my bread and butter when it comes to neck work, right? Like this is so effective to just very gradually take a knuckle from the top of the neck, the superior portion, down to the inferior portion, the bottom portion of the neck right there. And especially when you start to get around that clavicle, oof, that there can be some really sensitive, some really tight knots in there. And just getting some knuckles on it. I mean, you might vary your pressure throughout. I guess not really, but it's great. And I think it really is complemented by that soft fist technique that I was using at the beginning. I was kind of making fun of myself. I think they go hand in hand really, really well. Now right here, I'm just settling on a knot. Right? That's really not uncommon to see. When clients ask me if I do trigger point sessions or if I do trigger point, or some massage therapists will ask me, kind of a similar question. And, trigger point isn't something that you normally do a session that's just that. Like you should really mix it in to other modalities. I mean, you could just do a trigger point session, but I find that most massage therapists are naturally going to flow throughout the session anyways, ultimately combining it with other techniques. Now you'll see here, I kind of have like a pincer technique going on, right? Like I kind of got this claw going on. You can almost see there's like a C shape to my hand. Now this might slightly contradict what I've said in other videos where we're talking about petrissage and how it's actually a very flat technique, right? So this is just a variation of it, and this is fantastic for when you're trying to pinpoint onto something. Now you can see here we've got a really intense spot because we can see it on her face right now. Now what I should do is I should probably lighten up just a little bit here. There are certain areas that you are going to actively work. They are going to be sensitive, so this might happen. But when we get stressed out, we start to tense up, right? And sometimes that's really not that big of a deal, but the area that's tensing up because of the stress is the area that I'm working on. So it might be in my favor to actually back off a little bit. And for some clients, they get this idea that more is better, more pressure is going to be more therapy. Sometimes there are certain times out there where, really getting some pressure on some stubborn fascia can be just awesome. And other times, you might not need it. You might be overworking for not that much benefit, not that much more benefit, right? You could probably just ease off and enjoy yourself just a little bit more. And I say that lovingly too, the enjoy yourself, because I mean, you could ask Megan here on the table. You could ask pretty much any of my clients. Most of my massage isn't really an enjoyable thing. It's a very therapeutic experience. You are definitely feeling like you're being taken care of. You definitely feel like we're making some kind of progress with your health. But it's not always like, when you see in the movies or the TV shows or whatever, we're like, oh, it's so relaxing and it's a spa day or whatever. Most of my clients, if not all my clients, don't really see me as their spa day, right? They don't really see me as their day to necessarily unwind. I mean, some do, I should say. No, there are definitely some out there. But most of the people I see, they see me because, well, you got a couple of kids that you're taking care of and you wrestle horses for a living, and it's just, you got to take care of yourself. And so that's why we do what we do here. So let me go ahead and get back on topic here. Let's see. I am taking off some cups. We covered that in my last video. You have to take off the cups at some point. You can see they brought up a little bit of color there. Who knows if that will last or not. I'm sure that it will. So now we're getting back into the neck work. So it looks like we're getting into the opposite side. Let's get past that. Let's skip into something that I think is always overlooked. This is a terrible angle. That sheet, why is that sheet so high? What did we do here? Come on. Let's get to the good stuff. We're doing it? Oh man, I wish we could see it. It's so hard to see right here. That's okay. I'd rather her be covered up and feel comfortable instead of um, highlighting this is wonderful demonstration here. So what we're doing is we're working on the SCM muscle. This is a very, very special muscle to me, the sternocleidoid mastoid muscle. I think I put too many O's in there for some reason. Sternocleidoid mastoid, sternocleidoid mastoid muscle. So it's this muscle. So if you reach back behind your ear and you feel this kind of like corner to the skull right here, to the lower skull, and you've followed that muscle down to your sternum and clavicle, that's your SCM muscle, and it's such a cool muscle. Why it means so much to me is because it's one of those muscles that it's always overlooked. People just don't touch on it. It's one of those things that massage therapists, I think, are scared out of working on. Because I know when I was in school, I would butt heads with people as an instructor, but throughout that entire time in education, the front of the neck was seen as this like totally disastrous place that you should never work on because you're probably gonna, just rupture an artery or destroy a nerve or something crazy. And the thing is, yeah, you could definitely hurt somebody while working on delicate structures, but with enough training, with enough attention, with enough discipline, it's so indicated to work the front of the neck. Like, you're not doing anybody any good necessarily. I'm not sure you're doing them a little good. That was exaggerated. Okay, that was dramatic. But if you're just working the back of the neck and you're not working the side to the front of the neck, it's not, you're leaving gains on the table, right? That's my bro talk right there. But if you think about it, the head in relation to the neck is kind of like if you had a bowling ball and you were trying to balance it on two fingers, right? It's exactly that. It's a balancing act, right? So if one side of the neck gets tight, the other has to tighten up to compensate for that. And this compensate word, I know you've heard it before. Massage therapists use it all the time, right? And we use it when we're talking about the body all the time. But when it comes to the neck, it can be kind of exaggerated in a way, how much it matters, right? So if you do loosen up the back of the neck and you haven't given any attention to the front of the neck, I don't see the results lasting very long. I really, really don't. And in fact, I had a client recently where I was going to do some gua sha, and I did it on one side of the neck, just a little bit, like maybe 30 seconds. And she was like, I'm not really feeling like that today. Maybe we should switch up the technique a little bit and go ahead and just not have gua sha in my treatment today. And so I didn't even think about it. I was like, 30 seconds, there's no way that I could unbalance the neck enough to cause it to spasm. And sure enough, it did. And that's just how sensitive the neck can be, especially when it's already in spasm for some people. So just keep that in mind. All right, looks like we're getting into a little bit of chest work here. That is a sloppy drape, but I think that's okay sometimes. Now, if I was in massage school, I would definitely have points taken off on my final. That's for sure. That all of this, the whole thing is not okay for massage school. But as a professional, this is totally fine. And I think that's another funny thing about massage school is I guess you have to like set that bar really high. There's not a problem with that. But sometimes there's like this ego and attitude that comes with it, right? You'll see it, and I've talked about it in other videos, but like students that are students that have graduated between the years of like 1 and 3 or 0 and 3 have the biggest attitudes, man. Like, they will look down on anybody else. It's really just that group, because once you get after the 3-year mark, most massage therapists seem to chill out and just kind of like do their own thing, but yeah, I think in massage school we kind of distort what the acceptable level is going to be for certain things. But like I said, it's probably a good thing in the long run. So that was some basic neck work for you. As basic as it is, though, it's one of those things that I am consistently complimented on because it is thorough. And if you are a new massage therapist out there, I would look to be thorough with my work, not necessarily flashy, because there are, certain techniques out there that look really, really cool, and not a lot of other people might be using them. So it can be maybe kind of attractive to use stuff like that, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But just for me, it's all about the basics. It's all about just using a tool and using it thoroughly. That's all it really comes down to. And don't skimp on the SEM muscle. For the love of God, don't skimp on it. Work that SEM. And if you're a client out there and you don't feel like you got a thorough massage, you should really give that feedback to your massage therapist. You can be kind about it. It doesn't have to come out as mean, but you deserve a thorough massage. You absolutely do. And if they are overlooking the SCM muscle, maybe ask them about it. It can feel kind of weird at first to get worked, so just keep that in mind. I have some clients who are just like, why are you pinching the fat on my neck? Right? I guess it can kind of feel like, I think it feels amazing when I get mine worked, but it can be a vulnerable area, and that's something to keep in mind. Like the front of the neck, the abdomen, really the front of our body, like the chest can be very vulnerable, the abdomen, obviously like the inner thigh area can be very sensitive. So just keep this in mind when you are working with somebody. There have been people that I have started to work it on, or I've started to work this muscle on them, and again, just after a few seconds, they're like, this is my jam. I'm not into this, and we have to move on, and that's fine. I'm not gonna try to coerce them into getting it worked. If they don't like it, they don't like it. Thank you so much for listening to me today. I didn't think this video would go on as long as it did, but I guess I have a lot to say about neck work. That's just how it is. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your attention. Feel free to reach out to me at any time. Feel free to book an appointment. Feel free to pick up my book. Feel free to always, always, always be safe and stay safe. Be awesome and stay awesome. I will see you in the next video. I love you all so much, and totally take care. I'll see you next time.